Welcome to this week's edition of the Lockhaven University Coaches Show. We are live on this Tuesday evening from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. If you're joining us tonight, we are here until 7:30. If you're listening right now on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are less than an hour away from Lockhaven University football as the Bald Eagles go on the road to face Cheyney. Jonathan Schwab with you and excited to be joined yet again to start our show off by Lockhaven University head football coach David Taynor. Coach, great to have you on.
Great to be here.
Your team coming off a home matchup with Shippensburg, and you've stressed over the last couple of weeks, we need to get off to better starts. Your team absolutely did that against Shippensburg, a 10-3 lead after one. What keyed a better start for your squad?
Well, in the game, we focused on trying to set our plan in a way in which we got a look at what they were doing defensively. We run multiple different tempos of no huddle, but we ran what we call our clap tempo, which is kind of a quick check with me system in which our guys got an opportunity to see what coverage they were in, what we were doing, and where we were attacking. And I think we did a great job of executing there at the start of it, and we got ourselves into some play calls that weren't necessarily on our opening script because the look dictated it. So I think it allowed us to be able to move the ball down the field and to put it in the end zone. And I think we had two other series there early, one of which we fumbled, which became a kind of a issue through the game. But we fumbled going down in there, and we had the field goal drive that got hit a little bit with penalty as finishing it. So the reality is, right off the bat, we had the opportunity really to put 21 points on the board in that first quarter. So did some things well. We got to continue to finish better.
You talked about a very specific use of your tempo. Your offense plays at various different tempos. How do you determine, based on opponent, which tempo you want to use and how you deploy them throughout a game?
Well, I mean, it depends upon each week, what we're trying to do. If we're trying to press tempo to get a lot of different plays in against a team that maybe we feel doesn't do a great job in pursuit. One of the things that we'll look at is the number of guys that are within a 3-yard radius of the ball on 10-yard plus carries, because that gives you an idea of how well a team pursues. Team 5 that we just played did a great job in pursuit, so I didn't know if there was necessarily a huge advantage to pressing the tempo a lot because they were going to pursue no matter what, and they played against some faster-paced teams also. So we took the approach of giving ourselves the ability to kind of maybe capitalize on the fact that they're probably the most consistent team that we've played against thus far. As far as you get a pre-snap look, you can get indicators that tells you what they're in, and we used a little bit slower version of no huddle in order to take advantage of those looks.
When you talk about a team being aggressive and running to the ball, are you looking to go fast, or I guess the more appropriate way to say it is as fast as humanly possible when you feel that it might take some of the juice out of a team as far as pursuing to the football?
Yeah, I mean, there are two things that make a great defense. A great defense pursues the football extremely well, because the most difficult thing to do on the defensive side of the football is to make an open field tackle by yourself. So if you have 11 hats running to the ball, you're going to have more people there, and those open field tackles don't have to happen as much. So by increasing tempo, if you can reduce the amount of pursuit that you have with your opponents, you give yourself more ability to get one-on-one in space and make guys miss. It works in that way, but there are some teams, and I felt like this about Team 5 when we played against them, that if we would have ran 95 plays in the game, they still would have pursued in the 95th play the way that they did in the first play, because I think they're extremely well coached and it's built into what they were doing. So we didn't necessarily see that as an immediate advantage, whereas in other times we will. Now, one thing that we do is we have a coach that's responsible for spotting on the sideline. When I say spotting, meaning if we see 2 or 3 guys put their hands on their hips or bend over, then we'll increase our pace and tempo. So there's a guy that tells me, all right, we see signs of weakness, let's go. So then we'll go into one of our faster paces.
How close to you is that coach during the game?
They're right on my hip. That's their job. We got a guy that's responsible. We got 3 guys that are responsible for signaling, and we got a 4th guy that's there to let me know if he sees that happen.
Does he have an official title within that responsibility that we could say for the listeners?
He's our tempo guy, so he helps me decide what tempo we should be in.
I'm sure he has a name, but I'm happy to call him Tempo Guy. I like that. Joined by Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green on this Tuesday night. And if you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, it is just after noon on Saturday. Offensively, you talked about Shippensburg being very consistent with their defense. How did that benefit your offense, being able to convert two huge offensive touchdowns, big plays of over 25 yards?
Well, the one was a great play by Delvon Dennis. He's a guy that we feel like can win in some one-on-one matchups. They ran cover zero and matched up, and he's a guy that has a big frame. So, it had an option route and broke it and used his body to keep his body between him and the defender and the ball. Caught it, and he's a difficult guy to take down in space. And for being a 280-pound tight end, he caught it, got in open space, and could make somebody miss too, which is a rare commodity at that size. So he finished it. And then the other one was, they ran some cover two, and we were able to high-low their corner a little bit. And Caleb made a great throw into the boundary. Their safety gave everything that he had in order to get off and left his feet to try to make a play. We put the ball in the perfect spot, and when he caught it, Seif in open space is a guy that's not easily tracked down. He's a guy that's going to separate and finish.
Joined by Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Shippensburg game and take a brief look ahead to this weekend's opponent, the Wolves of Cheyney. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. Great to have you with us from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall, or for those of you listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, this is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. I'm Jonathan Schwab, still joined by Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor, and coach talking about this past Saturday against Shippensburg. Your defense working against an experienced quarterback and a very efficient Shippensburg offense. You held Ryan Zapaticki, that quarterback, to 5 of 14 in the first half. Shippensburg's only offensive touchdown came off of a turnover. How are you able to limit them with your defense?
Well, it's been a process throughout the season. We're playing a lot of young guys that have been asked to play because we've got 5 of our initial 11 starters that are out for the year for various reasons. So it's been a process. Early in the season, we gave up some senseless big plays where we made schematic mistakes. So it was a process of making sure that we had our defense more sound. And then, over the previous 2 weeks before this, we played a little bit more sound football, but we didn't throw a lot at them. And we've basically decided that it's necessary for us to throw multiple looks at them and put them in positions to truly prepare as college football players and go out there and get after it. And I think they responded extremely well. I mean, we had a much more diversified package against Team 5 and got off the field well, presented them a lot of different coverages, made a couple mistakes. I mean, the field goal early in the game, we got a little out of position in the defensive backfield, and they hit a 46-yard play. Outside of that, I mean, we limited, I think it was 108 yards total receiving on the day. 46 of it came on one play, and we didn't give up the big play touchdown. We were out of position just a little bit, and we got back to it and made the tackle after the catch. So we did a phenomenal job. We had a freshman corner out there too, Shaheem Brown, that I think played extremely well. And part of the reason why he got in there and played is because for the last 4 or 5 weeks he'd been matching up against Sean Seif in practice, and I said, well, he's a guy who can, at least make Sean work a lot. And I go, Sean's doing pretty well against other corners in this league too. So I think it's time we get Shaheem a shot. And he went over in the first day of practice last week with the ones and twos and showed that he had the ability. So we functioned him in there as a starter on Wednesday and Thursday. And then he went out in his first game and did some pretty good things. Did
he thank you for allowing him to line up against somebody besides Seif on Saturday?
Team 5 has some good receivers, so I mean he was challenged there a little bit, but he's a guy that can run really well. He was a sub 1100 guy in high school and high school track, so he's a guy that could match a little bit of speed with Seif, which reality is Seif has a speed advantage against most guys that we've been playing against.
You've been referring to Shippensburg as Team 5 when we've talked about Cheyney, Team 6. What's the thought process behind calling these programs Team 5, Team 6, and then as you go forward, Team 7, Team 8?
Well, the thought process is you don't control who you play against or where you play or the situations that are around there. You only control the responses that you have to those situations. So rather than concerning yourself with the name, to steal the Rock's quote, he asks, "What's your name?" and you start to answer. It doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your name is. So we're gonna line up. We took all the names off of our scouting report, so it's the number of the player that we're playing against, and we're talking about the technique that they play with, the effort that they play with. But we don't talk about the names because the names really don't matter. The part that you control is your response to the events that are out there. So we've changed that focus. We started doing that last week, and we'll continue to do that here on out.
Joined by Waukegan University head football coach David Taynor on the LHU Coaches Show. How about a brief synopsis of what you're expecting to see from the Wolves of Cheyney?
Well, Team 6, I think, they're greatly improved from last year. That's the first thing that stands out when you watch them on film. I think offensively they're doing a very good job with their guys up front. The last couple of weeks they've rushed for 168 yards versus Bloomsburg, and they rushed for over 200 yards versus East Stroudsburg. And they're consistently commit to the running game, and I think their O-line is playing good football. I think they're much improved in that area. Defensively, they got some speed, runs around on the field. I mean, they got their linebackers are maybe a little bit under or a little bit smaller than what we've played against the last few weeks, but they run extremely well. And they'll get to the ball. So, we've got to be sound in our operations, and we got to make sure that we play with great effort and finish every snap.
Our One for Fun with David Taynor. Whether it be an article of clothing or a personal item, what is something you always have on your person on game day?
I have a rock that I keep, which I consider to be my foundation. It says husband, father, and mentor, which are the three things that are most important to me in my life. So keep it in my pocket during game day as a reminder of that.
Do you ever feel something weird because it's a rock in there and think, what? Oh yeah, the rock's there.
Doesn't matter what your name is, the rock says. But no, it's just something that I think you keep in perspective. Our job as a coach and our charge is really to help build and develop people. So, and there's a lot of emotions that happen during a football game, and the call that happened or the turnover that happened and all those things, they drive emotions, but it doesn't change what your perspective is as far as what's your responsibility in this profession, which is to help build people.
Waukegan University head football coach David Taynor, thank you for your time and good luck against Cheyney.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
When we come back on the LHU Coaches Show, we'll be joined by Waukegan University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh. This is the Waukegan University Coaches Show presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. We are back on the Waukegan University Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. You can join the action every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. For those of you listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are about 40 minutes away from Waukegan University football as LHU goes on the road to play against Cheyney. Jonathan Schwab joined right now by Waukegan University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh. It's great to have you on, Coach.
Very excited to be here.
The Waukegan University women's swimming season is just a few days away from getting underway. And if you're listening on the Bear, by the time you hear this, they will be underway. Joel, your team getting ready to get started at the Colgate Invitational. But before we talk about that, what did you ask from your team over the offseason?
Very simple. We started out our off season last year talking about how the 2016-2017 season starts now. We challenged them back in May to really come back ready to go, be excited, be ready for the season, come together as a team, and they've really responded and they've really brought it. I'm real excited about what we're doing right now.
What were the areas of emphasis during the recruiting season?
The biggest emphasis is to bring the best and brightest students that we possibly can to Waukegan University. We want great swimmers, but we also want great people. The biggest emphasis, I would say, over the past few years has been bring people on campus that are going to ultimately be great teammates. And then the thing that's awesome is they're meshing, and the idea of becoming a great team and winning together is the process that we want to really push.
As you go through the years, and you've spent a few years now, I believe it's 4 years now. Is this your 5th year?
Going on 5, yeah.
How has that process become easier for you in understanding exactly what you want for your program?
Well, as each year goes, just like everybody, we talk about evaluation. We talk about looking at our athletes and how they grow. I do the same thing with myself. Every year I kind of take a look and we say, what worked here? And then, we take a look and say, what didn't work here? And then we learn and we grow from it, and we incorporate it into our system. And the other thing that I've really learned over the course of time is that it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all. Things are different for different swimmers. Different personnel work differently. So, it's nice. There's a lot of trial and error. We keep them on their toes, but I hope that means too that we get to keep the sport fresh, because this is a sport where you grind it out a lot. You work hard. There's a lot of thankless mornings where you're waking up and you're just working hard. It could be a sport where you're staring at the black line over and over and over again. But the thing that we try to do is we try to make things different. We try to make things fun, and we try to have it be energetic, so that way they can really go at it and kind of come to practice and say, okay, I don't know exactly what we're doing today, but I'm ready to work hard, and I'm ready to get better.
This past summer was the 4-year cycle, the Summer Olympics, and it's the time where swimming gets more attention as a sport than any other. So you talk about energy. How much energy does it create coming into your season off of everyone getting to watch those Summer Olympics?
Well, it's the end of a 4-year cycle, and whenever you watch people that are Olympians, you'll see that they're training through that 4-year cycle. Like right now, some of them will be sitting and making the plan for 2020, which is pretty awesome, but that's so far away. So it's you see that for 7 days we're featured. We're all over the world. We're featured. Swimming is absolutely huge, and then our women get to watch that and say, I'm part of that. That's my sport, and that's my sport. Everybody's talking and asking about my sport. People that don't know anything about my sport are asking about my sport. So, for them, it's nice. They come in naturally energized, ready to go, because it's something that it's a once every 4-year cycle. Unfortunately, obviously I wish it was talked about more, but the thing that we are on mainstream once every 4 years, I think that it's absolutely awesome.
Joined by Waukegan University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh on the LHU Coaches Show. What did you ask of your student athletes during preseason workouts?
This year is much different than previous years. We kind of jumped right into it. We challenged them right off the bat, where everybody walked in, and instead of, okay, we're going to take a few weeks, kind of ease into it, we said during the summertime that we're going to jump right into it, and we did. And we challenged right off the bat, and it was a thing where once our athletes knew to expect that we were pushing very, very hard, they adapted, and they have gotten better thus far. I'm so excited we are simply throwing the kitchen sink at these women. Like every day, it's a new challenge for me, where we get to say, okay, let's try and push harder than we pushed before, and they're responding so unbelievably well, and they're working so unbelievably hard, and I couldn't be more psyched right now.
I have to give you a lot of credit, because folks who watch the video on golhu.com might see this, but for our radio listeners, they will not be aware that LHU baseball coach Jim Chester just walked in, tapped you on the shoulder mid-answer, and you did not lose your rhythm at all. Much respect there.
I got it. I'm learning from the radio show too. I'm learning every year, so I should always know what to expect from Jim, but I got it.
You have a couple new assistants in the program. What have they added?
Everything. I have been so unbelievably blessed. I've been so unbelievably blessed that right now our assistant coach, Chelsea Edwards, has come in, and she has brought a different perspective and a different expertise, and she has truly made our team better, and she has truly made me better as a coach. We also have a volunteer assistant that's helping us out named Patrick Smith, who we're so lucky too. We have our own strength coach right now through for swimming, and that's something that I've been so blessed. Pat is a weight room aficionado, and then it's been every Tuesday, Thursday morning they do weights, and then afterwards they go and Chelsea pushes them to the max whenever it comes to dry land. So we're all, as a staff, we're working together unbelievably well. It's hard to believe it's only, we're only 3 weeks deep into this, but we're all working super well, and I'm so excited to be able to trust them so much that it allows me to really emphasize some of the things we're doing in the water, but then it also frees me for things, extra things like recruiting and extra things that helps make our program better. So I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky, and I'm very, very excited to be working with them, and I couldn't give them more credit.
Joel, how about a quick synopsis of first the Colgate invite and then the following weekend back-to-back home events?
So we start out with the Colgate invite Friday, Saturday. And it's just simply some early season racing. It's a similar format, not exactly, but a similar format to when we go to the Diamond City invite. The goal is always, we circle a few meets on the calendar where you want to go fast, you want to rest down, because in swimming you can't just, every week you can't say, okay, well, we're going to go fast, we're going to go fast, we're going to go fast. There's times where you have to train and break the muscles down, and then later on you taper off and you heal up, and then you swim fast. That's where the magic happens. So all of this is for a few days worth of swimming fast. So it's the goal. That's the goal. So the thing that we do early season is we just kind of gear up and try to fine tune and work on technique when it comes to our racing habits. So we'll look for no matter how broken down muscles are, you want to have your head down on the finish. You want to finish with your head down in a great place. Off the block, you want to be quick. You want to have that reaction time. There's so many things that are the fine-tuned parts of the race that we'll actually watch, and I've talked with Chelsea, and I'm pretty excited about where we don't really take the splits into account. What we take into account are, we'll have the sheet for the race, and instead of writing splits down, what we'll write down are, you need to work on this, you need to work on this. So that way, whenever it's game time for them for that Diamond City invite or for PSAC championships, then they can really zero in and, okay, I've had the dress rehearsal, I've done this a bunch of times, I'm ready to go, and I'm excited. And then for next week, homecoming, it begins our dual meet season. So our first dual meet next Friday at 6 p.m. against East Stroudsburg. And then following that, the following day, we will have our annual Crimson and White intra-squad meet, where we will invite our alums back, and if they want to bring a suit and get in the water and get going, they absolutely can enter. And it's a fun format. We set it up so it's like our long format meet, but we shorten the distances, so our girls really like it, and then our alums obviously like it as well.
Our one for fun for Joel Blesh. I know that you are a pet owner and you are a friend to animals. What was your first pet?
My first pet. Simultaneously, I had two dogs. One was named Taffy. She was a little Cocker Spaniel poodle. And one was named Peppy. He was a English Spaniel. And those two growing up were, as close a furry friends as you could possibly get. I've been an animal lover all my life. We've got an awesome dog named Dusty right now, and I absolutely fell in love at a young age.
Lock Haven University head women's swimming coach Joel Blesh, thank you for the time and good luck as you open your 2016-2017 season.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.